Hello everyone, this is me today Nuts, and today we'll be looking at a HackTheBox machine, that is ScriptKiddie. ScriptKiddie is based on Linux and the difficulty is easy, so let's just get started. So first thing I'll do is I'll run an nmap scan so that I get to know additional information on the ports and services which are open. So let's just start with that. Nmap over here and VV switch for more verbose output, so that nmap it will do a scan, and if it finds a open port, so it's gonna list it down over there. So I'll do SC for save scripts and SV for service version enumeration, then PN switch to avoid the ping probe, and P-P so that it scans all the ports on this target server. And the target IP address is this. I made a note of this over here as well. So 10.10.226. Okay, so let's just hit enter, and if you can see over here, the VV verbose output this is what is listed, and over here we already can see port 22 is present as well as 5000 is present over here, TCP ports. So 22, since it's a Linux box, it's most likely going to be an SSH port. It's not mandatory, but most likely it's going to be that, and there's some 5000 port over here as well. So we'll just wait for this scan to complete, because now it found the open port, and it's going to scan for open ports at first, and then based on that, it's whichever ports are open, it's going to do additional scans on them. So this is what it's doing now, service scan. Okay, so the results are here, and we can see that there's port 22 that is running SSH, and obviously there's this version over here. So obviously first thing is you check for this version, try on source exploit or something, try to find some exploit for this, and the way to go normally. So we do have another port 5000 over here that is running HTTP service with this workzook HTTPD Python server. So yeah, so this is HTTP service. So let's just do one thing and quickly go and check it on the web browser. So 10.10.10.226 5000 port. Don't forget to give the port, and we come across a web application over which says kids hacker tools. So basically this is what it is, and whenever you come across a custom page like this, best to do a view page source and try to check if there are any known hints or comments or something present over here which will be helpful. But that's not the case over here. So we do have few things over here like nmap, and we have a payload section, and also we have exploits over here. Okay, so basically whenever there's a web application, and obviously I just did a full TCP nmap scan, I know it was very quick because there were only two ports open over here, that is 22 and 5000. So probably 5000 is the only way to go. 22, it's very limited. Obviously that should be the last resort or something. And over here this web application is it's just one page loaded. Obviously it's not sending it to a different application or something. There are no links or URL or something, so that I click on it and it goes to a different application. So you can run a GoBuster scan or something over here, but it wasn't helpful at all over here. So you can try that obviously for the first time whenever you're doing the web application or something. So let's just move on over here, and we do have a nmap over here which says you have to enter the IP and you have to do scan. So obviously in such similar situation where it says scan after entering the IP, it's most likely that you can add a command injection or something over here. You can probably do something like that because it's probably doing a system command or something of that sort. So let's just try for 127.0.0.1. Probably this is a local host IP address. So this IP address is not my localhost over here, because this is the server, right? This web application is actually residing on ScriptKiddie server. So that is this local host is actually for the ScriptKiddie localhost, because I'm sending this request over there, and that's how it's gonna scan. So let's just do that, and the scan is done already, and this is the same result which we found, right? Like 22 and 5000 over here, and it's done very fast as well. Okay, so obviously if another thing you can try for is add this and do and do something like ID or who am I or something of that sort, because we already know the box is Linux. So yeah, so it says invalid IP. So obviously there's a lot of filtering present over there, and I was not able to get command injection or something. It's not possible from here because there are a lot of filtering present. It's going to avoid the bad characters, and it's just going to let you enter IP addresses only or something of that sort. So let's just move on and map as well, and there's payloads over here and there's search exploit as well. So payloads, basically it says venom it up, and it's like Windows. There's an OS mentioned over here as well as hellohost. So let's just try doing something like one, that's the localhost IP address again, and over here instead of there's a browser field present and it says template file and it's optional. For now what we'll do is just click on generate and let's see what happens. Obviously it's taking some time to load or something. We'll probably get something over here which says like venom it up. So most likely it looks like it's using MSF venom or something to create some payload. And if you can see over here, that's the payload created, I guess. That's Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP. So this is most likely MSF venom which is present, and that is running over here. We are just entering some inputs like localhost or something, and the port number I think it's taking by default. And obviously this URL is present over here at the bottom of the screen. You all will be able to see once I hover it. I don't want to download it because it's not very useful. So this is the payload which is present, and probably I can just click on it and get it downloaded. Okay, so that is one thing over here for payloads, as well as the search exploit over here. So this is basically like you can check for any known exploits or something over here in search exploits. So okay, so for now if we enter something like let's try entering some WordPress or something like that. Okay, so probably we'll get some additional information over here on WordPress. Yeah, basically this is running search exploit on the localhost as well. If I enter search exploit, I'll get something of this search exploit and obviously WordPress. So I'll get this result over here as well, like on the local system. So that's what's happening over here, just running a search exploit and plus the word, and it's giving the answer over here. Okay, so what we can do is since this payload is present over here, venom it up, and obviously you can try for command injection in all these input fields over here. Maybe one of the input field lets us enter some malicious things like some characters over here, so that we can have a command injection done, but that does not work. So that's not the way. So over here it says venom it up. Obviously it's using MSF venom, and also there's nmap over here as well, so exploit. So what we can do is just quickly go and finish this thing. So do a search exploit against venom something, or you can do MSF venom as well, because obviously the venom is just the name, right? You can do MSF venom. Obviously you can try search exploit for nmap first, then obviously you can try for search exploit as well if there is any known vulnerability or something, and then later on for this. So in the interest of time, so we'll just go with this MSF venom over here, and if we can see there is an MSF venom vulnerability present, that is APK template command injection. Okay, so obviously you can try for nmap as source exploit as well, see if you get something, but over here it says APK template command injection. Now so template over here is interesting because over here as well we do get an option for template, and the OS section actually gives us something like Android. So over here this APK is nothing but, most of you guys may be aware, APK files are like the Android files which are present over here. So this is what is present, APK template command injection. So most likely this is the way to go. So obviously there's no version number present, like version number is present over here, but over here obviously there's nothing as such. So we can just try and see if this works. So obviously there's a payload over here that is possibly the exploit code which is in Python. So I'll just try to copy it into my current working directory. So for that I'll use search exploit plus the m switch for mirror, and then later on I'll paste the path of this Python exploit so that it gets copied to my current working directory, and it's already copied over here. So let's just go and look at it and see what happens. So if we can see over here, it basically says like the same thing, MSF venom APK template command injection, and the CV is like 2020. That's very recent obviously, and I think this machine was released recently as well. So okay, so what we can do is we'll just look through the code, not fully, because obviously most of the things, like, we don't have to modify many things over here. Obviously there are a few things we have to modify, and it literally says change me. So basically this payload thing is the first thing we need to change, I guess, because this is nothing but it's taking the ID variable over here. Once you enter ID command, so it's gonna output that to tmp.win file. So basically what we need to do is we need to add some malicious command over here, and then later on basically execute it over here as well. So what we can do is currently, since this thing is present, I'll just enter a simple command. Before that, I'll just leave the original as it is, and then I'll copy this, rename it to, don't want to compress it, I want to rename it exploit.1. Okay, so now we can modify, because if by chance we mess things up, so we can just refer to the original one. So basically I just want to do something like, which is simple, that is ping, and something like, you can do wget as well, that is just use wget and use the IP address and start a port 80 HTTP server or something, and you can see if you get a request or no. So basically I'll just enter this, so ping C switch for the count, how many times it should ping, and also this is the count, that is 2, and also the IP address over here of my attack machine. Obviously this IP address is going to be different for you guys. Once you connect to the HackTheBox VPN, this IP address is going to be different for you guys over there. Okay, so once I get this, that's it. I just don't want to change anything else. And basically the payload, it looks like from here, from line 15, it's gonna go over here to this payload thing over here, and it's gonna go over here basically, and it's gonna do a base 64 encoding, and it's gonna come out over here then, and it's gonna decode it and then use sh to execute the command. That's how it's gonna work, but our main focus is only this thing, and so let's just see what happens. So first thing, I'll obviously run this exploit1.py file and see if everything works good. So this thing I started over here, and it says done, APK file is at this location over here. So I'll just copy this thing and I'll quickly just paste it into my current working directory. Obviously we can change this thing as well, it's just mentioned in the exploit code. So basically this is doing some signing activity on the APK file, and if you guys encounter any issue over here saying that jar signer is not found or something, so what you can do is you can just run this command in the new Kali Linux version. So I think this thing is not present, the jar signer, so you can do this sudo apt-get install default jdk, and it's gonna install that jar signer for you. So once you do that, then probably you can get this exploit running, otherwise you'll get some jar signer not found error. So you make sure to install that default jdk. Okay, so we got this file over here. So this evil.apk file is already present, and if we can have a look over here, it says that this evil.apk is already present over here. So what we can do is we'll just quickly go and try to get this thing up, use Android. Before that, since I sent a ping command over there, right? So what I'll try to do is I'll just try to start this TCP dump over here basically. So I'll just do something like I turn 0 CMP. So I switch is for the interface, ton 0 is the tunnel 0 for the HackTheBox VPN, ICMP is just the packet what we are looking at. So basically, okay, so this thing has started. So basically we are just sniffing for ICMP packets, nothing else. So after this, what we'll try to do is we'll just go over here and later on just give the lhost as .1 and just try for this template file. Let's see if this it will accept this file. Obviously if you enter some another thing is in this browse category, you can try and add some malicious file which will execute from the browser. You try to filter it out, but obviously there are filters present, so you can just add limited extensions and everything. And once we click generate, let's see if we get something over here. If this thing works out well and if the command injection actually takes place, we'll get a ping request over here. And if we see we do get a ping request, obviously like I mentioned this count as 2, right? So I got 2 packets over here, ICMP echo request, okay, and then later on another one over here. So basically command injection is successful, and I'll just close this for now, don't require this anymore. And so we can move on with this further. So what I can do is I'll just take this exploit.p1 file, I'll create another copy, I'll just rename it. Obviously you can do it from the command line itself. Just trying to show this, you can do it from, okay, so in exploit2.py file, what I'll try to do is I'll just remove this entire thing over here, and I'll try to add some reverse shell payload. So the reason why I went with ping is first, and obviously you should go with some simple commands like ping, wget or curl or something, because you would not know that if your RC, that is your command injection, is failing or the payload is failing. Because sometimes if you try a Python, a reverse shell over here or something of that sort, and if Python is not present in the system, okay, I know the web server is just running Python itself, so but just for example, it's not present, obviously that your code is not going to run. Then you'll be confused whether command injection is not working or the code is not working. So that's why always make sure you test it with some simple command. And once that is done, what we can do is I'll just modify this, but before that I'll just search for just go to payload, all the things. And over here I'll go for methodology and resources, reverse shell. Okay, so over here I'll just look at bash TCP. So this is the one which I need, so I'll just copy this over here. Obviously you can use other ones as well, there are Perl ones and everything. Bash is a simple one, so let's just use that. Copy it over here, and this is what we are going to use. Obviously we need to modify a few things. First is the IP address, so I'll just give 10.14.11. This IP address is my HackTheBox VPN IP address currently for the current session, but make sure you have your own IP address present over there. Don't enter the same one. And then 4444, I'll just give 4444, that's it. And before this, since this is running, this thing, entire command is running over here, it should be actually executed as bash. Okay, so over here it looks like it's being executed as sh. So what I'll try to do is, whenever there's a command injection, any which way, here obviously we can see that it's doing sh, but most likely in command injections there is sh thing happening. So I it's better to do bin bash over here, or basically you can try for bin bash over here, and then later on use the C switch over here, okay, and then just enter this in quotes. So basically what this will do is, so whatever the command, the entire command, right, the payload will come over here. So sh will be running this entire command. So sh will start this bash first, and this bash will use this C switch to run this entire command over here. So once we have this command completed, what we can do is just leave it as it is. Obviously we do have this 444 thing present over here. I'll just go over here quickly and start the netcat listener first. So I'll use NC, I'll use N for numeric IPs only, V for more verbal output, L for listening mode, and P for port number, that is 4444. The same one which was present in the exploit code obviously. And before that I'll obviously have to run the exploit as well. So that is me running Python 3 exploit2.py, because that's a new file which we created. It's gonna create that evil file over here, temp file. I need to copy it from here because you need to read the exploit. The evil.apk file is actually present over here, so let's just copy it, cp, paste it over here, and I'll just mention something like rev.apk. That's it. So I have this rev.apk file present in my current working directory now over here, and I'll just go back, I'll close this payloads, all the things, and later on over here I'll just go with Android. I'll just enter the host as localhost IP address, and I'll browse for this thing, that is the rev.apk file. So I'll just cross check that the netcat listener is running. I'll close this thing, don't require it anymore, and later on let's just hit generate. So if everything goes well, obviously I'll get some reverse shell over here, since we already confirmed that the command injection is successful. So I do get the reverse shell over here, and if I just do who am I'm over here as the user kid, and I can just do an ID over here. It says the ID UID is 1000, gid is 1000 as well. Okay, so quickly what I can do is I can just check for which Python, and Python is not present over here. That does not mean another Python 3 is not present. So let's just do which Python 3, and I do have this user bin Python 3 present. So let's just copy this thing over here. Okay, oh never mind, you can just do Python 3 C switches for the command. I'll just do import ptby, just upgrading the shell over here, that's it. So you can just do a Google search and see how do I upgrade to a fully interactive shell or something. So this will help because I'll just get the this thing. So now if I entered like a left arrow, this thing came up over here. So all these things will work out later. So I'll just hit enter over here, and once that is done, I'll just press Ctrl and Z on my keyboard at the same time, and it's suspended. And in order to get this thing back and done, so I'll just use stty raw and echo over here, and then later on I'll just use fg over here itself, because if you can see, it's running zsh, the new version of Kali. So if we do fg later on, that's not going to work properly. So might as well terminate this first command, then use fg over here. So let's just hit enter, and this thing has come. So I'll just type reset over here, hit enter again, terminal type, I'll just hit xterm. So this is what I got over here. So who am I? I'm Kid. And now if I just want to go back, left arrow and everything, I do have this capability. Okay, so quickly what we'll do is we'll just look at which directory we are at. It says home kid and html. So basically we are as kid user, and html directory is present over here. We can just check for files over here, that app.py, probably this is what is running over there in this port 5000 over here. And so I'll just do cat app.py over here, and we can obviously go and look for it. You can check for any passwords or something present over here, hard-coded passwords, which will help us for further things. So before that, whenever I come to a box, I obviously check for uname as well. I'll just check for the architecture information, and over here we can see that it is running 64-bit OS. So since we have that information, that will be helpful. So we have that, as so I can check for sudo l. That means it can show us any writes without any password, but unfortunately it's asking for password. So if I just find some password or something in this app files or something, it will be as helpful to enter over here. So I'll just leave that aside. I don't want to enter this. Okay, I have. Okay, so in the zap file, basically we just saw, and basically it's taking all that nmap request and everything, and it's just gonna show you how it's gonna work, the entire thing over here. And also for source exploit, yeah, so we'll just leave this app.py file aside for now, and what we can do is just quickly go back over here. And also there's a logs directory, if you can see. Obviously okay, one more thing is you do get the user flag over here as kid, so you can go and grab the user flag over here. Just do cat and user.txt and you'll get the user flag. So obviously when you land up first in that directory, try to search for that, enumerate. I did go to the static templates directory and find if I found something interesting. Obviously then I came over here, there's this logs directory over here, and snap as well. Obviously I went across them and I checked if there's something interesting present. So this logs directory over here, my bad, has this hackers file, and if you can see, the count is 0, like the size is 0 basically. So if I just do cat hackers, nothing's going to be displayed, it's actually 0. So basically we do have, this is the file which is owned by us. We do have read-write access, it's owned by us, so obviously you can change permissions as well. Okay, so quickly if you go back over here, we come back to the home directory over here, and we do have this another user, that is pwn pawn. So we can just do quick pswd over here, and we can just see for users, like, so there's kid over here, there's pwn as well. So most likely we need to get this user as well if you want to go to root or something like that sort. So what I'll quickly do is we can go to this pawn directory, so pwn, and once I come over here, we do have this scan losers.sh file, which seems interesting, and we have read access over here. So basically we belong to kid user and kid group, so we belong in the others category over here, that is this read only category. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just quickly do a scan losers.sh file over here, and it says that basically it's a bash script, and it's taking a variable that is log. It's going to take that hackers file which was present, which was blank, which we saw some time back, and then later on after that it's going to come back to this directory. It's going to do a cat log. So basically this is a variable. It's going to take the contents of this. So this is basically what's happening over cat home kids logs hackers directory. So first thing, that's what it's doing over here, and it's gonna cat it and everything, cut it, and basically we'll just see how this entire command works. Okay, so what we can do is I'll just quickly copy this entire thing over here. My bad. So I'll just name this test1.txt, open this file, paste this thing over here. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to use that cat log command, right? So it's going to run a file over here, it's going to do a cut over here, and it's going to use a D switch for delimiter. So it's giving a blank over here, like there's no variable present over here. So basically it's using space, and then it's using F3. That is, F3 is basically, we'll just see that in a bit. So F3 is basically the third file which is present over there, and it's going to sort with U, and later on after that it's going to do a while read IP do. So first thing what is important is basically I think the starting part over here, what we see, that's the most important thing, I guess. So let's just look into it and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so this is basically calling the hackers file, and that's it. And if we go back to that app directory, app file, right, just go back over here to cd html cat app.py. So basically over here we can see the hackers thing as well mentioned over here. If we can see, yeah, so this is what is happening. That is present in the searchploit function. That is, it's going to check for regex. Okay, the text present over here is going to open this thing. I think if we just enter proper text over there, like we did for WordPress, just for our testing, we had entered WordPress earlier. So it's gonna go out over here and it's gonna do this entire thing present. But if that does not work out, it's gonna do and open this thing over here. It's gonna write that thing, data and script and everything, and it's just gonna comment saying stop hacking, we'll hack you back, or something of that. So let's just see if this thing works quickly. So I'll just enter searchploit over here. Okay, I'll just enter WordPress again, and I'll just enter this pipe thing, and also I'll just enter who am I. So if I do that, I do get this text present over here. So that means that's what it's doing, and it's getting that hackers file. So it's writing the hackers file. So if you just look at this hackers file now, so it's blank again. So probably there's something happening over here. I'm not sure as of now. So what we can do is we can just analyze it a bit. We can analyze it properly. So what we'll try to do is I'll just get one more terminal up over here. And over here I'll just run Python 3, and I'll give the module over here mswitch for module, that is the Python 3 HTTP server, and I'll give the port that is 8000. So I'll just run a HTTP server over here. I'll just go back over here to the TMP directory. I'll just create one directory over here that is kid test, just mention something like test, that's it. So go back to the test directory over here, and once I am inside this directory, I'll just use wget. Obviously I think wget is present. Yes, wget is present over here. So I'll just use wget over here. I'll just enter my attack machine's IP address, and then I'll enter the port number, that is 8000, and then I'll enter the file name, that is pspy64s. Now where did this file come from? I did have it already downloaded in my system. You can go on GitHub and get the pspy64s file. Why 64? Because we did uname A and we found the architecture to be 64-bit. So that's the reason use 64. If it's 32-bit, use 34. So S is for small version. Sometimes the S version don't work. So you need to download the full version and use that. You can go on GitHub and get this pspy file. So what pspy is gonna do is basically it's just gonna check for processes and everything in your system. So let's just do chmod 777 pspy64s, and once I do that, I can run pspy64s. So once I do this, I'll just use this entire PSPY for entire this window for PSPY itself. So basically this is what it's doing. At this particular time, UID 0 is obviously root, and this is what I started. So we can do multiple things over here. So let's just try that source exploiting again. I'll just enter WordPress over here, and again I'll just enter who am I, and I'll use source exploit. So once I do that, I do see that that source exploit function has triggered the scan losers.sh thing over here. The scan losers.sh is nothing but that cut command which we saw, right? This is what is present. So that's what is present over here, and basically what we'll try to do is the scan losers.sh is running, and it's going to do an nmap scan and everything. So that's what was present in that scan losers file. So before we go ahead with that, I think I'll just close this window for now, and over here I'll just go and try to get another shell that is on port ncnvlp on port 5555. Let's do that quickly. I'll just use another exploit file that is, my bad, exploit3.py. Open this file over here, and over here I just need to change the port number. So I just copied the exploit2 file, right, which I already had with this bash command and everything. So I'll just change the port number to 555 over here, and next thing what I'll do is I'll just create another terminal over here, Python 3. I'll just change this to exploit3. Okay, sorry. So this thing is done. So once this thing is generated, same thing I'm doing like previously what we saw, and instead of evil apk, I'll just do something like rev2.apk, something of that sort. So that is done, renaming is done, and I've started the netcat listener. I'll just verify it. Yeah, it's running over here, and basically I'll just go over here, Android 127.0.0.1. I'll just browse for this rev2 file, and I'll just hit generate. So once I do generate, if we can see over here, it says it's using Ruby to run that MSFNM payload, and we can see that APK file present over there. So, and I got the shell as well. So basically this is what is happening over here. That APK file is running over here. Just ignore this highlighted thing. So this, my bad. So this file is running over here, that APK file which we uploaded. Obviously it took some temp value over here. It's gonna run, and that's where the command injection takes place. So if we scroll below, this is where the base64 payload is present. It's gonna decode it, and it's gonna run sh. So that's what's happening over here, and if we can see clearly, after the base64 decode is done, this is what it's running using sh. So that's how it's working, and that's how we got the command injection. And before that, I think I'll just close this because we have used, yeah. So I'll just close this over here, and we'll just use this for further testing. I'll just go back to tmp test, and over here I'll run the PSPY in the bottom window. So PSPY is running over here at the bottom. I'll just leave it dedicatedly for that. Like I dedicated this bottom terminal for that. And what we'll try to do is we'll just look at the scan losers file again. So basically that file, if we saw the app file, right? Let's just go back to home. Okay. I think it was HTML. The app file over here obviously was, saying that it's gonna write some file to the hackers thing. It's gonna do open over here, and it's gonna write something, date, time, and everything. So let's just try adding something to the hackers file and see if we can trigger that scan losers.sh file or something. So let's just go over here, kid. Logs, hackers. Okay, my bad. It's just logs over here, and then cat hackers. It's gonna be blank. So let's just echo something over here. That is test hackers. So obviously this is another cron job which is present over here, which is gonna find some files and it's gonna delete it, I guess. Okay, so just ignore this for now. That's not the part to get root or something. Obviously I was curious when I saw this if there's some command injection possible for this cron job, but that's not the way. Okay, so I just tried to add this test thing to hackers, and if I just do cat hackers over here, it's gonna be blank again. So when I try to write this hackers file, this scan losers thing got it started. The scan losers thing basically started over here, this script which was present in the pwn directory. And since we are writing something, this thing is getting triggered. See, I just did it again and it's getting triggered. Probably there's some job or something present over here for this particular file hackers. So if you write something over there, so this scan losers.sh will be triggered. Okay, so this thing is present. And what we can do now is, since this echo test is present, over here is doing some nmap scan as well. If you can see, this is basically that scan losers.sh file which we had seen earlier. It's going to do some nmap scan, and we have mentioned test over here, right? That test is coming. So basically, if you interpret this nmap scan, what it's going to do is it's going to use nmap. It's going to do top 10 ports only. It's going to save this result into this recon directory with test.nmap file name. This test, we have mentioned it, obviously. This is what we have given in the file over here. And this another test over here, that is the same thing which is coming elsewhere as well. And most likely it looks like whatever we enter over here comes over here. So most likely this is a clear indication that we can have a command injection present over here. Okay, and obviously this the next thing is going to dev.null, and most likely we can do that. So before that, we'll just try something like basic things, like obviously if I just enter who am I, that's not gonna work over here. If you just go and add it to hackers, it's just gonna show who am I, but I need to terminate this first command, right? And then I need to start who am I, because otherwise it's gonna take this entire thing itself. So what I'll try to do is I'll just try to modify this somehow and see if this works. So I'll just do echo over here, and if I just do who am I and this thing present over here to hackers. So over here again, if you can see, this thing did not work clearly because it terminated and this, so it did not work basically. So what I'll try to do is, apart from this, I'll just try and add some additional things over here. That is, I don't think this command worked. I'm not sure. I think it should have worked, but not really sure. It did not come up over here. So basically what we'll try to do is we'll just try to modify something, and we cannot have many spaces over here. If we give many spaces or something, that's not going to work because of that cut command which we had seen earlier over here. Yeah, this is present over here. So let's just quickly go and have a look at the scan losers file over here. And this is what we get. So basically it's gonna, obviously if we write something in the hackers, it's gonna come over here, it's gonna cut the file, and it's gonna output something. So what's basically gonna happen, this entire thing, it's gonna cut the file and it's gonna take it as IP, and it's gonna do, this is basically a do while loop. Basically while read IP, it's gonna do certain task like this. So it's gonna do an nmap scan, which we are actually seeing over here. Okay, this is what is present over here. So quickly we'll just try to figure this out, this cut thing, because when we need to end a function or when we need to add a script or something of that sort, because if we enter something like who am I or something, and probably just enter something like ping c 10 10 14 11, let's just enter this and see if it works. It's not going to work because of this cut command over here. This cut command which is present, it's not going to work because of that. So let's just try to do that. And basically if we saw over here, only the IP address came, right? Obviously nmap scan, the IP address only will come, but basically there were two blank spaces over here, right? That's going to use as a delimiter over here for this cut command, and F3 is going to use a third part over here. So we'll just look into this more in a bit. So I'll just create a document which says test2.txt. Just open that up just to make you guys understand what's actually happening. So I'll just enter test1, test2, test3, test4 and test5 over here. That's it. So I've entered these things over here, obviously with spaces, because that's what is, stopping us to enter the payload. And what I'll do over here is I'll just quickly do cat test2.txt. So once I do a cat over here, obviously I get test1, test2, test3, and all these tests as well. So what I'll quickly do is over here, I'll just get this command which was present, which we have taken from this thing over here, scan losers file, and I'll paste it over here. So I don't require the while and read and sort as for now, because that's not really important to sort, because obviously if there are multiple IP addresses, then that thing will be useful. And while do, obviously we do know that the nmap scan is going to be executed, but for now we just want to see how is this cut command actually working. So over here this cat is present, right? So I just need to enter cat test2.txt because I just want to cat this particular file which includes this data. So once I do that, I do get test 3, 4 and 5. So first two files have actually gone, because the reason is we are using a delimiter over here. So delimiter is basically cutting the file. So since this blank space is present right over here, so it's gonna take this blank space as a break. So it's gonna treat this as file 1, this as file 2, and this as file 3. So basically we have given file 3 over here, right? So after this file is gonna list out all the contents over here. So this is very crucial, because if there is F3 and there is no dash later, suppose this dash wasn't present, so it will only list down the file 3, that is the test 3, that's it. It's not gonna list down the rest of it or something of that sort. So that's how this thing is gonna work cut over here. So basically we need to add something like test 1, test 2, and then later on probably enter our payload over here. So let's see if this thing works. So first thing, what I'll try to do is I'll just enter something like sudo basically I think we can take the bash command itself. And before we come across this test thing over here, what I actually did was I just use something of like this thing, who am I over here. Obviously it executed and I found this. Don't go across this command kit was not found, but basically who am I output is this kit thing, right? So that's what I entered over here, and I was able to successfully do it as well. So I'll just show a quick demo over here. This test2 file is present with this thing, and I'll just enter something like test3.txt, and I'll just enter something like who am I over here. Okay, that's it. I'll just enter who am I, or I'll just enter something like I think who am I is fine. That's it, just to keep it simple. We do have who am I over here, and after this, if I do the same exact thing for test3 file with the same exact thing which took place over here, which is present in that scan losers code as well, so I'll get this who am I present, because obviously there's no delimiter and it's gonna just give up this file over here for some reason. So this who am I comes irrespective of these spaces or something. So there's no thing like as such like it's gonna give you a blank output or something. So this thing is gonna work. Okay, so what I basically did was when I first did the box, so quickly I'll just create a file one rev.sh over here, rev.sh. I'll open the file up. I'll use something like bin sh over here, then I'll use bin bash, and then later on after that I'll enter the command over here which was found earlier over here as well. The same command, reverse shell command, I'll be using on the rev.sh file, and instead of 4444 I'll just give 6666 over here. Okay, that's it I guess. So rev.sh is ready, and what I can do quickly is I'll just do python 3 http server on port 8000. I'll start the HTTP server. I'll go over here back and I'll just do wget over here 10 10 and 14.6 8000, sorry not 6 11 8000 rev.sh file. and post that I'm just gonna output it as revsh as well in the logs directory itself. Where the hackers file is present, I'm just gonna get that file. So I did get this file already over here, revsh. So I'll just chmod 777 all permission revsh over here. And quickly what I'll try to do is I'll just enter, I don't think I require this anymore, just close this, get nc nvlp and get the port, that is 6666. So once this port is ready, I'll just quickly test that revsh file. Obviously this file is like, it's gonna give me access as kid user itself. Obviously I got it as kid user, but this is just to confirm that my reverse shell is working. That's it. So I'll just start this netcatalist again. I'm back over here. So what I'll try to do now over here is I'll just create a file that is touch test1.txt probably, and then I'll use vi over here to test1.txt, and then probably I can enter something like home kid logs rev.sh. This is where the file is present. That's it. I just want to copy this thing to that particular hackers.file, because if I do echo that thing, it's gonna execute the file irrespective. That's the reason I'm doing this. So we'll do that, and basically after that we'll just do wq, save the file. So cat test1.txt. So the reason why I transferred it to a different file is because if I just do something like echo, and if I just want to enter something like who am I to a file that is hackers, or maybe just keep test2 file.txt. Okay, I forgot to enter this, my bad. I forgot to give quotes over here. So if I do this thing, oh my bad again. Okay, so if I do this thing, basically echo, this entire text won't come, because first this thing is going to get executed, right? So kid will come over here. So if I just do a cat on this file, cat test2.txt, it's just going to give kid, because first thing it executed this thing. So I just want this text which is present, right, which I've entered in the test1.txt, to be present in this hackers file. So I just need to transfer that. So obviously I did try my reverse shell, the revsh file is working, and now what I'll try to do is I'll just try to cat the contents of the test1.txt file to the rev.sh file. So basically this is what is present in the test1.txt file. I just want to transfer it to not rev.sh, but hackers file. I just want to transfer it to the hackers file over here, because as we saw, right, previously we had seen over here that if I just have this who am I over here with this $, it's just gonna output this thing. I have not added any spaces or something in the test3.txt file, which we had seen over here as well. That's it. So this is what I did earlier, and I think it should work. So I'll just do this, and if you see over here, I do have a shell as the pwn pawn user. So this is how I did it first. So basically I just tried to figure out the command injection. This is what I entered, and I got to know this thing over here. I just tried this and tested this thing, and then I got the command injection over here. So I'm over here as pawn user, and once I'm over here, what I can do quickly is I can just try to get this shell upgraded. That is Python 3 C import pty.spawn bin bash. Okay, let's do this, and then later on press Ctrl Z, then httpy raw echo, and then later on give fg over here itself, and enter reset over here, and then give xterm, and we are over here as pwn user, so that is 1001 uid. So once this is done, I do have access as pwn. So quickly I'll just do a sudo l, and we are lucky over here that we can run Metasploit Metasploit framework MSF console as the user root over here without any password. So basically just copy this thing over here. Don't forget to enter sudo, enter sudo over here, enter this thing. It's not going to ask for password because it's mentioned no password. It's going to run as root over here. It's taking some time to load. Let's just wait for it. And once that is done, so MSF, you directly can enter some commands like who am I, and over here you are as root. So if you enter something like you can enter something like bin bash or something, and over here you are as root. So this is what you are, and you can just go back to the root directory over here. And then later on, once you're on the root directory, obviously you can get a better shell. You can do a bash or reverse shell to some another port over here present, like. So you can do that as well, just to show that this is how you get root, and you can get the root flag over here as well. Just do cat root.txt and you will get the root flag. Okay, so this thing is a bit broken, so I'll just hit controls this. Yeah. So I'll just exit out from here. So I'm in MSFNM, I'll just exit out from there as well. We are back to pawn ScriptKiddie. So I'll just close this thing for now. I think this was error out. Yes, this thing will act funny. So I'll just close this thing for now. So this is how you get root. And another way to show is like, you know, using that test which we had seen earlier for the test2 file, right? I'll just show it quickly. So it's in this test2 file which we had created, we did have like 5 words present over here. Okay, and it's gonna just take the rest of the word present. So quickly what we can do is we can try to modify this thing basically, and we'll just enter something like test1 over here, then test2 over there, and then later on we can enter the bin bash command which is present over here. I'll just copy this entire thing. Copy. Okay. Where did our file go? Okay. So we do have this entire command over here. So basically, since this file is writing after test3, test4, test5, right? Over here, as we can see, it's doing the same thing over here. So over here as well, it's going to write after this particular file over here. So what we need to do is, we need to remove this break over here, cut, and we need to add it over here, because after the delimiter, it's going to take all the files. So we need to add this over here. I'll just use single quotes over here, and we can use double quotes as well elsewhere. 6666. And over here again, I'll try to break the command over here by giving this, or you can probably give something like a hash or something, and try to comment out the rest of the things which are present over there. That is, if we just look at the scan losers file, cat home pwn scan losers.sh. So it's going to go to this dev null or something. So we need to comment. So our main code is going to come over here, and we'll be able to see that below as well. Okay, and just another thing, as we saw that previous command injection, right? So I'll just show it over here where we got the command injection done. So this is where the command injection took place, and this is where our pwn shell came at port 6666. So this is what was executed. And most likely the who am I which we entered earlier as well, I think it was executed, but never mind. So any which way, we have this thing over here, and we need to comment this thing out. So I think we can just enter this thing over here with the hash, I guess. We can enter with this, we can just end it with this as well, I guess. So let's just try this first and copy this entire thing. Try to put it in the hackers file. Before that, I'll just try to start the netcat listener 6666. Go to the hackers file over here and echo home kid logs hackers. Let's do that. Let's see if I get a shell, and I do have a shell over here. So basically, what I did was, as I mentioned before, I used the same thing which came up over here, because the file was using everything after test3. So I entered everything after test3 over here, and I did enter this thing because I needed to break that previous command which was present, the nmap command. So we can see that clearly over here. I'll just go to this pspy. So ignore this first part. Ignore this first part over here. Just ignore this thing. Just focus on the second part over here, which is present. So first thing is, this is the entire nmap command which will actually run. My bad. So this entire command over here, which is present, nmap command, will run at first. And then basically, since we have given this semicolon, right, the second command will run. We are just splitting commands over here. So the second command will run over here. And then again, we are splitting the command because we don't want this thing to interrupt with our shell. So make sure you add this as well. So this is how it's going to work, and that's how you get the command injection as PWN user. So this is basically something like who am I? I'm ID, and as well as enter something like groups. So once I do that, so if you can see, there are like, you know, three things which come up. Kid, UID, it's showing the ID over here, and also kid is the group name. So there are three commands lined up, but it's separated over here. So that's the reason we get a command injection present. But as you mentioned, like, you know, when I did the box for the first time, that's how I did with the $sign and adding that rev sh or something. So this was the box, and obviously we did get root earlier, the sudo l root metasploit. So this is just, I'm just showing you all how to get the shell again by this method as well. So this was the box, and so first, just to give a summary of the box, first we came across a web application that was running on port 5000, and there were multiple tools running over there, system tools like nmap and msfvenom, and as well as sourceploit. msfvenom had the template thing, and there was a payload over there present for apk template. We created the template and we entered that. We had command injection. After confirming, we did convert it into a shell. After we got access, we analyzed the scan losers.sh file as well as the hackers file which was present. If we enter something in the hackers file, or if we write it, the creator of the box has created such a way that, you know, probably that scan losers.sh file triggers. So after that is done, we can get a command injection over there, because scan losers.sh file, we can modify certain things and get the command injection as PWN user. And once we get the PWN user shell, we do a sudo l and we can run msfvenom, sorry, not msfvenom, but msf console as root. And that's how we get root access. So if you guys like the video, do give a thumbs up, do ask me any queries in the comments below, and do subscribe for more upcoming videos. Thank you.